soldiers receive here in a typical 5 or 6 hour session, when they've got the time to do it. And ever since then, I've attended many training courses, but the initial one was 2 days, 10 hours in total, and before we were sent to combat. It's the basic things. It's tourniquets, decompression needles, Israeli bandages, splints. Since I've been doing this job, since I've been doing the service, I've had many training sessions. Not all out there in the east. There was a Ukrainian surgeon that's come along. There was an Australian surgeon as well, Craig. He worked at Kramatorsk Hospital. He served in the Australian Special Forces, and he taught us quite extensive field medicine. And so I've had extensive training, but nothing certified, and there's just never been time. But,
I mean, oh, go ahead.
No, but plenty of experience now, unfortunately.
Oh, it's experience firsthand. I mean, I can't even imagine, because my whole understanding is under NATO trainings and hours of block training we had to do and check the block stuff. But from people that I've talked to from the Frontlines, Big Mac and others that have came off the front, it's all that training is, I mean, it's completely different on the front. You got artillery, and it's a large scale war that someone like me that was NATO trained likely isn't prepared for. Would you say that?
Yes, absolutely. Being they say the fastest place you'll learn anything in Ukraine is on the front lines. Yeah. And having to, the amount of times we've been treating patients when cluster bombs are landing around us, when helicopters are attacking us, it's you do what you can with what I developed a phrase. We do what we can when we can with what we've got. And touch wood, we've never lost a patient.
You're here.
And with Project Konstantin, we've evacuated. I think the number is around 230 now, in the last several months. So we're. It's a tough job, man, but it's the greatest job I've ever done in my life, and I don't think I could ever do anything else.
It's a fulfilling job.
It's the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life, Andrew.
Wow.
You know, I'm telling you, man. I went through a bit of a nasty divorce 10 years ago, and my daughter and my wife went one way, and I went another, and things didn't work out well there. Let's just put it that way. And I've prayed to God for 8 years for direction in my life, and He brought me to Ukraine. And working alongside these heroes, man, it's a different universe. And there's nothing greater than being able to, when somebody's crying out for help, or when somebody's going to ask you, am I going to keep my leg? Will my daughter see me again? Am I going to live through this? And you're able to look into that man's eyes whilst patching him up and telling him, of course you are, brother. And then handing him over to the surgeons and getting a phone call from the guy a week later and saying thank you. There's no greater gift.
What keeps you going? What keeps your morale up? Is it that? Is it just what you'd explained, or is there more?
It's exactly that. It's that thanks. It's the thanks. It's the deep gratitude. It's the brotherhood. It's the bond. It's the powerful, deep oomph. Bring it in, brother. Kind of handshakes and hugs. It's the sincere appreciation and disbelief of the Ukrainians that foreigners like you and me and our friends out here are here in their country. What the hell are you doing here, Pete? You could be at home. You've got such a lovely life back home. You come from London. Their disbelief and their absolute gratitude, Andrew, is what keeps me going. It's that reward. That is it. It's the love and the respect and the appreciation that they give, that they have for us.
And it's genuine, felt, isn't it? Like you can truly feel it. I'm speaking from my experience, but
yes, you've seen it. I've witnessed your videos when you've been handing out vehicles and stuff. That love, that appreciation, that I've seen them give to you. It's real. It's tangible. It's you are helping the most destitute people, arguably in the world right now. destitute nation. I might say, put it that
Right.
way.
Right.
Desperate is probably a better word. Yeah, but it's a deep love and a deep appreciation. And I was speaking to my co-director at Project Konstantin a second ago, Galina. I said, I'm nervous about this podcast. Give me some advice. She said, you'll be fine. And I said to her, and we were talking about, and she said it's a desperate army, Pete. We were talking about something else, and she said it's a desperate army. I said to her, how could I be thrust into the situation in all these theaters I'm going into? What is going on? It's all developing so fast. I said to her, and she said, it's a desperate army. She didn't use the word desperate. She said they need. The need is great. That's what she said. She said the need is great. And I'm hell bent on trying to fill that need, man.
Yeah, you're doing great.
And legends like yourself.
Well, thank you. You're the legend. But you'll get more comfortable too as we talk. I'm nervous too when I go into conversations. My hands get sweaty and shit. But yeah, we'll be okay. What are some of the biggest challenges that you faced overall?
Oh my gosh. You mean out there in the theater?
Okay, well, I guess we can start. Let's go section by section because it's a lot. Let's go. What are the biggest challenges you faced when you first got to Ukraine, and then we'll go from there.
Language.
Yeah,
Language,
I agree. That's tough. What are some ways What are some ways you've been able to learn Ukrainian? Or are you still trying to, or is it something you're working on?
Yes, I was very blessed. My ex is Polish, so I got to speak some Polish, and Polish and Ukrainian are quite similar. They because of my limited Polish skills, I was able to pick up Ukrainian quite easily. A lot easier than normal folk, should I say, that didn't have that previous experience. And I can survive in Ukrainian now. I can talk on the radio. If somebody's patient with me and they'll give me basic Ukrainian, I can get through it. Yeah. So I'm slowly picking.
That did again. We only from talking to you, which thank you again so much for sharing your wealth of experience and knowledge, but also through just some GoPro combat videos is really kind of all of the things that we get to see of what's happening on the front. But that was the concern we'd see of I don't know if you know Civdiv's YouTube channel, and he had combat GoPro, and there'd be communication just in the truck between English speaker and Ukrainian speaker, and it was tough because they couldn't really communicate with each other, just general things. So it is very important from what I can see from a third party perspective.
Indeed. I've been blessed, though. I've had great colleagues that have either been Ukrainian or do understand the language. I've worked with Tatiana, who should I say, was Ukrainian. She passed away, sadly. Bringing another vehicle out here recently. She brought maybe a dozen vehicles or half a dozen vehicles.
Wow.
She brought several vehicles through to Ukraine, and she formed PK with me. But she was Ukrainian. She was born in Bakhmut. We call her the Angel of Bakhmut now. Because she sits here every day, and Archangel Michael's on the other shoulder, and God is on my back. It's the only reason I'm still alive. Having Ukrainian colleagues and volunteers side by side has been a massive help. They haven't always been there. There have been times when I've had to do this job on my own, and God bless. I've been blessed with people that don't need me to speak too much. Too much. Drive there, dress that wound, drive there, off you go.
The amount of people involved in helping all the efforts is incredible, isn't it? At all levels.
Yes, Andrew. It's a team effort, and it's like there's two armies out here. There's the Ukrainian army, and then there's the volunteer army. And I'm sure somebody else coined that phrase, but there are a lot of us out here, and I'm extremely proud of all of them, and grateful to all of them, because this military really needs every bit that it can get. Absolutely.
Now, the biggest challenges initially you said were learning the language, which I definitely empathize with that. Now you're going to Donetsk. What are the initial challenges you had when you're at the front now?
Gosh, where do I start? So doing evacuations from the front was the first ones were Bakhmut and just outside Bakhmut, between Bakhmut and Toretsk on that zero line. People dying whilst we're en route to rescue them. People being killed whilst we're en route to rescue them. That was tough. So you hear about a 300. That's Ukrainian radio code for an injured. Traksotek 300 in Ukrainian. And that happened a couple of times. So there's somebody injured and they're alive. They've stopped the bleeding and we're on the way to rescue them. And then another incoming round lands and then probably I've got the answer for you, Andrew. It's losing people that I've become friends with. That's
incredibly difficult.
The greatest challenge. Losing friends, that people that you've bonded with, friends that you've made in that unit. And here at PK we always in bed with battalions, and so we live with them. We're one of them. We're fully embedded with them as we are as one of them. And then losing friends, and it's always the one soldier, or it's always one or two of the soldiers that make the most effort to make you feel welcome there. How is that possible? I don't know, but it's always the nicest guy in the unit, Mr. Nice Guy. It's always him that gets taken out first, and it's, oh man, that's hard. And then of course the massive amount of incoming fire and the randomness of the incoming fire, and you never know what to look out for. Is it a kamikaze? Is it a mortar? Is it an artillery round? Or is it a rocket, like missiles? These bloody missiles that took out people, other legends like Pete Reed and
rest in peace to those heroes.
Yes, man. Yeah, and there's just too many of them. Emma from Road to Relief, God help me. But our challenges, Andrew, are always equipment. So I mean, the two major challenges are I'll say there's three. There is the viciousness of the Russian attacks, and the consistency of them. That's number one. Then the equipment, which, because they're vicious and we need tough equipment to handle their viciousness. Okay, and then there is the lack of. I wouldn't say that. Yeah, is it the lack? Having the right people, not having the right people, having enough people that can stay around long enough, because this is not something that anybody can just walk into. And
right.
You know, when you come there, you've got to understand. You've got to learn which direction the rounds are coming from, and a lot of the time you can actually hear. And it takes time to embed and to get to understand your local theater, and it's those three things. It's the viciousness of the Russian attacks. It's not having the right equipment, and it's also a lack of people, a lack of skilled people, and people that can actually do that job or want to do that job. And it's rare because, like yourself, coming from a NATO background, US background, you guys call in, NATO will call in air support,
right.
Soften up your target, then some missiles. We don't have any air support. We've got no softening up of our enemy. We go in and God help me, I hope my bulletproof vest and I hope my helmet does the job today, because I know I've got nothing else other than prayer.
It does put it into perspective. So, it does, because you're out there, you don't, like you said, you don't have air support. When we were deployed, we had so many levels of protection, in the sky and the sea and the everything, like where we didn't truly feel alone. Do you feel like at some points when you're on a mission or operation, or it's like it's just me and the guys and the women and men next to me, to my left and to my right?
That is exactly how it is. You could not say it any other way. It doesn't feel like it is. It is like that, Andrew. It is. I'm sitting there in my bunker, and I get a call on the radio, and I run to the bunker next door to tell the commander that such and such a battalion has got an injured. I'm off. Okay, and it's just like, okay, There's no what route are you going to take? Where is your pickup time? How badly are they injured? What's your backup? There's none of that. They're so busy fighting their war that, okay, Pete, see you later. So there's a civilian running around on the front lines
Wow.
and with his colleagues. And it's like, all right, see you. And 2 hours later, I'm back on the radio. Cool. You know,
Wow.
you literally are alone. And there's it is you really are alone out there. There's no, and I mean, the front lines are so out in the forest where we were. It's so dangerous. It's so hot. They call it Sharka, Dusha Sharka, very hot territory. There's loads of incoming fire. Nobody wants to be outside. Nobody wants to be above ground unless you absolutely have to. So as a medic running around in an unarmored 4-wheel drive, often getting stuck, standing at the side of the road with my tow rope in my hand when a tank zooms past with 16 soldiers crammed on the top of it, holding my hands in prayer like this, please stop and give me a tow, with an injured soldier in the back of my car. This has happened countless times, and they can't stop. If they stop, all of them could possibly die, quite probably die from an incoming, because those bloody Orlan drones are never ending. They're always up there. So it's you are on your own there, mate. And sadly, there aren't any levels of protection above, other than the good Lord. Yeah, Andrew.
What are some of the challenges of fighting in a forest in country? Because you have forest experience, you have urban combat experience, trenches. What is the difference in them? Is there a difference?
There is, there is a difference. You can't see very far in front of you. Everything that's going to hit you is going to come from above, and you can only hear about it or see about it. Anything you only learn about it at the last few seconds, because you cannot see. You can hear tanks firing regularly close by, and but you can't see them. There's no chance to use an NLAW or a javelin in these forests because there's too much wood. You can't lock onto the signature. There's no chance to use a Stinger because the Russian helicopters strafe us twice a day at night. They come around regularly twice a day, and we've got it on our clocks. Okay, time to put the kettle on, boys. The helicopter's about to come on, and you can set your clock by them. And you can't shoot them down because the Stingers don't operate because you can't get a lock-on signature. And then of course you've got the kamikaze drones, and they get the way they operate is also we can't block their signal because we've got the trees in the way. The trees save us because they catch 90% of incoming rounds. They get ignited, detonated by these trees. So there are millions of trees out there, these beautiful pine trees and silver birch, and a lot of them have been destroyed. I call it the murder of the trees.
Yeah,
They're beautiful.
It looks, all things considered, that forest does look beautiful if it wasn't being shelled with Russian artillery.
Yeah. Yes, mate. Yeah.
Incredible. What now? The forming of Project Konstantin, that happened before you went to the front in Kyiv, or was it after you had reached the front lines?
After, yes. It was so over a year ago now. Tatiana Millard. She I'll tell you quickly how it happened. I'll keep it short. Tatiana called Phil from the Combat Cellar in England. Combat Cellar is a military surplus store in Northampton. And Tatiana called him up, said, Phil, do you know somebody who could deliver some aid to my stricken village just outside Bakhmut that I was born in? And Phil called me up and said, Pete, this village hasn't had food or water or gas or electricity for 3 months. Nobody wants to go there. Would you help? If you go, I'll give you a 4x4. I needed a 4x4. I said, of course I will go. 2 weeks later, Andrew, that 4x4 full of aid coming from England was a 25-ton grain truck.
Oh, wow.
For about 2 weeks, 25 tons, a 14-van convoy. It was me, it was Hugs, it was Denby, I think was his name, the mayor from one island in New Zealand.
What?
Denby Powell. There were a whole bunch of us. 14 sprinters heading out to Bakhmut. We thought we were the nuts, man. We thought we were coolest. And we spent a couple of days in Kramatorsk just spreading out all this aid. And and Tatiana joined on that mission at the last minute, and she said, "I'm coming with." And that is how Project Konstantin was born. So whilst during these 2 weeks, we a whole bunch of us, myself, Tatiana, Piers, Grundy, and Piers came up with our logo, the phoenix, the phoenix rising from the ashes. You got it there. I've got mine here too somewhere. Oh yeah, there it is on my patch. Yes, that's us. Yeah.
I made sure I got my. Yeah, that's amazing. Cool. That's an amazing patch.
That's the side of my patch. That is so cool. Bless you.
What an awesome story in the formation of Project Konstantin, and also the logo too. Because I was going to ask you what's the meaning of the Project Konstantin patch or logo?
Yes, it's a phoenix. It's so Piers Grundy. He's a cameraman friend of mine from England, and he just came up with it. And I looked at it. I said, "It looks pretty. It looks like a South African secretary bird. This thing that goes out and kills cobras." And he said, "No, he called me a name I won't repeat." He said, "No, you silly." He said it's a phoenix. He said it represents, reminiscent of the phoenix, Ukraine rising from the ashes. And I thought, wow, how appropriate. And of course, it's in the Ukrainian flag colors. And then we spent a short time doing humanitarian missions, to Tatiana and myself, but after that big Project Bakhmut, it was called Project Bakhmut initially, and then we called it Project Konstantin after my friend. We had a small Ukrainian reconnaissance unit. There were 7 of us, and these are the friends I was running around Severodonetsk and Kharkiv with. We split up eventually, and one of them, his name was Konstantin. He went to Kherson to go try and free his family from occupied Kherson, and he was killed. He was in a military fight. He was in the army. He joined a ZSU unit, and he was killed. So we named it after him in honor of his name. He's an incredibly brave fella, and just the noble gesture of what he was trying to do. He gave his life trying to free his mom and sister from Kherson, but sadly he didn't make it. And so it's named after him. And then very soon after Project Konstantin was born, I was called one day. I was just about to sign a contract with the battalion in Mykolaiv, and they said, a friend of mine in Bakhmut called me. He said, "Pete, you've got 2 ambulances. Please come and help us." So the Mercedes Sprinter and the 4x4, off we went, and off I went. And I called Tatiana. I said, "I'm going to do Medivacs in Kazivacs in Bakhmut. Will you come and help me?" She says, "I'm on my way." And then Project Konstantin became fully fledged. We went to Druskivka, found a lawyer, and we stamped and signed and registered our charity in Ukraine. And ever since then, 4 months with 28 Brigade outside Bakhmut, and then the National Guard invited us. They said, "Please, will you come into the forest with us?" Which we did. And then, and the rest is history.
The rest is history, and it's ongoing.
Yes, it is.
I had a specific question that just passed me, but let's go back. You mentioned so many fallen brothers and sisters that you've seen and you've got to know. What are ways that you as a unit or as Project Konstantin comes back from that? Do you have a ceremony? Do you have a moment of silence? How do you, as a team, move on or keep it moving?
To be honest, we haven't had time to do any of the above.
No time.
There's been no time to do any of the above. I haven't even. There's been no time, Andrew. I've long wanted to go and place flowers at Tatiana's accident site. I've long wanted to go and erect a memorial for Emma from Road to Relief. I managed to write Emma's name on one of my 4-wheel drives. I wrote Emma. What's Emma's surname? Emma Igual. One of our vehicles is named after it. It's got Emma Igual written on the back. It's got Bollywood. Sam, what was Sam's surname? Sam Bollywood. You know Bollywood. Never mind. Sam, the young British soldier, another good friend of ours. Sam Nui. His name Bollywood is written on another one of our vehicles. Tatiana's name, we call her the Angel of Bakhmut. We've emblazoned. We've got this. What's the word? A graphic of an angel cradling Bakhmut in her arms, and it's on one of our vehicles.
Wow.
The vehicle is Angel of Bakhmut. So we've got vehicles dedicated to these heroes, but we don't. Sadly, I can't answer that because I barely had time to pray. There's just so much going on, and I'm sitting here feeling awfully guilty that I haven't done any of the things you mentioned because there's.
It's something that like I'm even trying to understand. Like I don't think anyone even in the chat can understand what you are going through at the front, and like hearing your story, we can kind of get an idea. But it sounds it's just like it's so fast and it's intense and it's just an environment that it's not built for everyone to really maybe even understand. You know, it's for certain individuals like yourself that have said, hey, I'm gonna do what I can do to go help the people of Ukraine after seeing the atrocities that were committed, and you've accepted the role that you're in. But that, you know, people like myself, even I'm NATO trained, but I still don't get it, and definitely my chat. But sharing your experiences, and someday, you know, when this war is over, you will get to have those moments and those pauses and be able to celebrate the life. But understandably, right now, it's pretty at 100 miles an hour, I'm sure.
Everything is at 100 miles an hour, Andrew, and it's actually quite soothing talking to you because it sounds like you, not it sounds like, I can tell you get it, and talking to people who get it is soothing and in itself therapeutic because it's I don't know where to start mourning. I don't know where to begin considering to grieve. There's just no chance, man. I sleep 6-7 hours a night if I'm lucky, and it's full speed every single day. We're on a little bit of a break right now, but there are countless vehicle repairs. There are countless supplies that need to be ordered and collected and disseminated, and training. And oh my God, we're just so busy, and it's just the need is so. You wake up and you think, I can't continue like this. I can't continue like this. I had a bit of an anxiety attack the other day in Kiev. I was just so tired, and I was pushing myself too hard for some interviews, and I was trying so hard to sleep. I took some melatonin, and I took too many. Yeah, and you were there, Andrew.
Yeah,
I was supposed to meet you.
You get to the point where you're like your body's booming, right? Where you're just so tired. It's like you can feel the pulsing like in every blood vessel in your body because you're just like, dude, it's drained. Yeah, I've been there like once or twice, but not at the level you were at. I can't imagine. But sharing your experiences though is so important and I thank you so much because you are at the front. You're doing everything to help the Ukrainian people, but you're also taking time like now to talk to people like me and others to share your experience and also garnish more support for the front lines. And speaking of, what are some things that you see that is needed the most on the front lines?
Andrew, I just want to say, I don't want to confuse your viewers. I just want to backtrack for a second. What I meant when I said, Andrew, you were there when I said I bounced on an interview in Kiev. I meant I was supposed to meet you.
Yeah.
When I said you were there.
Yeah.
I didn't want your viewers to that you also missed an interview.
No.
Folks.
We tried to plan an in-person interview with me and Pete while I was there in Kiev, but it didn't work. We couldn't get it, but it's okay. We're here now. I'm glad we're here now.
My apologies.
That's okay.
Thank you. Sorry, Andrew. You asked me what. Please repeat your question, brother.
Oh yes.
What are my biggest? You said one of my biggest.
Oh yeah. What are the biggest? What are the things that are needed the most that you see on the front line?
You know my answer already. Vehicles. That's number one. Transport, vehicles, tires, radiators, CV joints, suspension springs, in that order. And then what was that? No, yeah, he's not wrong. Night vision, thermal imaging, and drones.
The drones is a big push.
Yeah, I would say armored vehicles or vehicles. Something I started doing recently is getting up. I've received from a couple of generous people. Rebecca, this lovely American medic in DFK, she's donated a few Kevlar blankets, and we staple them on the inside. Can't staple through Kevlar, but we attach them to the inside of the vehicles. Kevlar blankets, so, and sometimes bulletproof vest inserts, the Kevlar from body armor, and that works sometimes. But so armored vehicles or vehicles with Kevlar lining, for anybody else listening out there, that would be the first requisite. Probably straight after that, I would say drones, kamikaze, FPV drones. I beg your pardon, FPV drones, which they use for reconnaissance and for the other things. And then of course reconnaissance drones like Mavics, and then everything else that I just mentioned. Vehicle spares, vehicle repair money, the battalions. Andrew, I don't know if you know this. Do you know I signed a contract recently?
No.
Yeah, okay. Well, I did. So I've got my volunteers working alongside us, but I'm now a contracted soldier. Do you know that our soldiers are taking their salaries and they pass the hat around once a week or once every few days? Oh, we need a new tow bar. We need a new windscreen wiper. We need a new car.
You're pulling your money together. Wow.
Dipping into their own salaries, Andrew.
Yeah.
And then some of them have little, they make Instagram posts and stuff like that. But it's so, and there's never an argument. There's never an argument out of any of their mouths. There's never a hesitation. The money's always there. It's what little they've got, and they'll give it gladly. But anyway, to come back to your question, it's vehicles and then all the other things, drones, night vision, thermal imaging. These things are big things. They are big, important pieces of equipment, because without, when you think about this, when there's cloud cover, nobody can send a drone up. And then drones are very effective for keeping eyes on the enemy, but and because we use that information too. So when we're going to go forward to do a retrieval of somebody, we can't find out if there's cloud cover. Nobody's got any intel for us. And the boys on the ground, if they had thermal imaging, and that's very rare out there, they could pop a head up or pop a periscope up and tell us, okay, the coast is clear, off you go. But there's a shockingly low amount of these devices out here. Starlinks is another one. Generators, and Starlinks is a big one. You always have to have your antenna outside, don't you? And it's exposed to shrapnel. Yeah. Starlink generators, camouflage nets. Yeah, I could go on, but that's what we focus on. Project Konstantin focuses on very much like yourself, vehicles. But they're very, very expensive, as you know. But we focus on big ticket items, Andrew. We focus on items that can improve the livelihood of a group of soldiers. So a generator will power a bunker. A Starlink will give dozens or hundreds of soldiers access to their loved ones. Tablets, the Google tablets, which they use for their maps. And chainsaws, a big one. The trees are always dropping over the road as you're evacuating somebody away.
Haven't even thought of the chainsaw need because of the forest, right? Yeah.
Chainsaw, and that forest is made out of sea sand. So the chainsaw, just a hint of sea sand in that chain, and it's blunt within seconds. So chainsaws don't last long there. Small. Can I show you one of these generators?
Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah, we'd love to.
Yeah, let me grab
you guys haven't, please like the stream. We're
Yeah.
talking with Pete Hasta La Vista from Project Konstantin. Also, ask questions. There it is. Okay.
It's a small briefcase generator, and it's all that's needed out there, man. At the beginning, we were getting these big generators, the big square, bulky ones. It takes 2 people to lift them.
Yep.
But these little ones are all you need. They purr. They're very quiet. They're purring away in the background, and they run on a sniff of gasoline. They're wonderful.
Oh wow!
But because everybody loves them now, the price has tripled, and they're extremely expensive.
I bet, so, because I remember, I don't know if you know Brandon Mitchell from he's in the Hospitaliers, or he is. I think he's on a R&R right now. But he did a big generator push at the end of 2022, and he had like the big ones, the big generators. So seeing that, like little briefcase, little generator, how much do those go for?
Harry, help me out here. How much are these? I think they're about. If memory serves, they were about 250 pounds, British pounds, the $300. They're now about double that, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's in Ukraine. They can be, they can, the further away you are from Ukraine, the cheaper they are. But Poland, they're very expensive. Ukraine, they're very expensive. But they we can't use solar. We've tried using solar panels. It's so cloudy this time of the year. And the solar panels are a big giveaway to your position, because it's like a big mirror sitting there saying hello.
Would you mind sharing the brand of that generator really quick?
This one is iPower.
iPower.
This one.
Okay.
iPower, and then I've got another one here. This one is my little reliable. This one came from England, and I've been running this one for over a year. It's called Clark Power.
Clark Power, like the sticker.
Yeah, like Clark Tools. There's a Project Konstantin sticker. They're saying mine, leave it alone. But it's Clark. Clark is a famous, quite a well-known brand for cheap tools. But this generator is nuts. I tell you, it doesn't stop. On
the front lines.
And yeah. We use it to power our. Another big desire out here is EcoFlows, or power banks, large power stations like EcoFlows. The generators power. They charge up our EcoFlows, and then to give the generator a rest, we switch the generator off, and the EcoFlow powers our Starlink during the night, and the LED lights in the bunkers, and of course the Russians often hack our radios, so the Starlink is our staple out there.
Communication is crucial.
Yeah.
What are ways that maybe my chat or just in general people can support your specific efforts, or like Project Konstantin, or how can people support what you have going on?
Well, that's awfully kind of you to ask, Andrew. We would love to. We have an online. We're constantly fundraising. Our main fundraising is always for one thing: my batteries. And have you got a battery backup for me? Can you plug me in with please? I'm on 20%. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Is vehicle maintenance repairs. We're a 4-man evacuation team, so we've got a driver and a medic, and on each vehicle, and so there's two medics per vehicle. So you would think that's 2 vehicles. We run a fleet of 6 vehicles, Andrew. 5 of them are 4-wheel drives, and 1 is a Mercedes Sprinter pickup vehicle and supply vehicle. And right now we've got 1 4-wheel drive operational. It's standing outside, and all the other 4 are in the garage, in the mechanics. And it's the roads out here are so brutal. Every single time our vehicles come out from the front, it's usually a 4-day shift. Every single time there's a $300 to $500 repair bill waiting for that vehicle. It's a snapped arm. It's a snapped arm. I've forgotten suspension in English. Armretizator. Ukrainian. Suspension. There we go. It's a snapped suspension. It's a snapped drive shaft, or it's a blown up window, or it's a blown up back door. There's always shrapnel. the ways to help us, Andrew, would be to, if people want to help Ukraine, they could either. I'm proud of the fact that I'm not proud. We're in an exclusive position, Andrew, that we're embedded with the military. We can see the need far better than most people.
Yeah.
Hope than most people would want to. Let me say that, because we're right up front on the front. So if people want to donate vehicles, if people want to donate generators or Starlinks or any of those items, I mean, gas heaters, anything that they want to donate, but things that would be useful on the front. And I'm talking about big ticket items, because we don't have the staff to manage, uniforms and boots and candles and things like that. But we're a great way. We're a good funneling service for directing people's aid. And if people ever want to know who needs something, we're out there on the front, and there's vast numbers of battalions out there. So if people want to donate aid, we can direct their aid, and we don't need anything from it. I'm just happy to point the direction. Sometimes I call myself a path beater. I'm happy to beat the path for other people to find where the stuff needs to go. Other than that, if people want to donate funds to our vehicle maintenance fund, we'd be very grateful. Any extra funds we get, we're always buying extra things like Starlinks, generators, chainsaws, petrol chainsaws, battery operated chainsaws. I'm looking around the room, and sometimes we buy stretchers. I had to buy Harrison. We did a fundraiser the other day for Harrison, for Margarita, for a helmet. She needed a helmet to be able to click her night vision onto. So we run on we keep about $2,000 to $3,000 in the bank, and that's for vehicle maintenance, and everything we get above that, and as soon as somebody comes and they say we need this or we need that, we'll literally take it out of our bank and we'll go off and buy it for them, and it's always out of that list that I've just mentioned to you. So if people can spread our links, if people could share our links, if Project Konstantin got better known throughout the world, and every now and again, if somebody just wants to throw a few dollars our way, you are helping Ukraine to survive by supporting Project Konstantin, because Project Konstantin is right there on the front lines, and I'm getting emotional now because, God.
It's you're reaching the correct audience. I'm telling you that your message is reaching the proper audience now, because my channel and others that might have platforms like mine, like say Rick the Ukrainian, which I hope that you can connect with him, Georgie from Ukraine Matters, Operator Starsky, etc. Like, they try to help directly and try to find ways to get money directly to like people like you or frontline units. Oftentimes, like on YouTube here, I can host a fundraiser, but it's a non-corporate, corporate, American Red Cross something, I don't. YouTube gets a cut of that. Red Cross takes a big chunk, and then I don't know how much gets to Ukraine at the end of it, So it's important that, it's important that we have fundraisers like these, like yours, where we can actually see it being used and the money is getting to the right place for the right people.
Andrew, thank you for everything what you've just said. I totally resonate with. I've been telling people for a long time, and people have seen it, and there've been some fantastic donations that have come through us. If you want, and I'm speaking to all the wonderful, good-hearted, pure-souled, pure-hearted, and pure-souled people of the world. If you want to help Ukraine, if you want a bureaucracy-free and a cost-free way of getting your aid from out there to the front lines of Ukraine, I guarantee you can send it safely through us, and our legacy speaks for itself. And that's all I can say about that. Our history, our reputation speaks for itself. Ask any battalion that's ever worked with Project Konstantin. If you want to send your stuff straight to the front line without any delay, without any cost at the border, please use us if you want to. Because so many things get tied up in warehouses and things get lost. I mean, how many times you hear about these horror stories of aid, military equipment, medical equipment, and it's always expensive items. That
it is. Where'd they go?
Yeah.
Right.
Where did they go? Yeah. Well, with us, we've got SBU watching us, which is the intelligence police. We've got how many government organizations?
Oh, it's the level of
like us. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the accountability is there.
We only do thing one way, and that is the straight down the line. Yeah.
Well, Pete, are you okay with taking some questions from the audience that's watching us talk?
Yes, sir, I am.
All
Thank
right,
you.
so we have some viewer questions. Mateo says, thanks so much for taking time for this interview and your solid commitment to Ukraine and the cause. My question is, can his regiment call on Arty on hostile targets and also use drones for recon?
And also use drones for?
Yeah, reconnaissance drones.
Oh, yes, we can. It's we can use drones. We do use drones for recon all the time. We have drones in the sky all the time. Our regiment actually is one of the few that has 24-hour drones. We and different parts of them have. But can we call an RT? Very, Mateo, it's a very painful question to answer. Only if the target is rich enough, Mateo, because we've got such a deficit of ammunition. So only if it's absolutely guaranteed that we're going to hit something, and only if only if the target is rich enough, target-rich environment, the term comes to mind. Only if it's really worth it, because our artillery ammunition is so low that, oh God help me, I've heard some horrible stories, and that's why
we're doing the best we can to continue to push our governments for more artillery.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you for saying.
We're doing what we can on our end. I know you as a soldier, you got to do. Yeah, I get it. How do you recover? Now, we talked about this, and you said that you don't really have a whole lot of time to do anything other than your job and sleep when you can. But do you? This is from Marino. He says, or they say, how do you recover from stress? What do you do?
I go for walks. I go for long walks every morning, and I try to go for walks whenever I can. I try to put my phone down, which is impossible. But I go for long walks in the forest. Not that forest. There are many other forests that I can walk in. But I walk and I pray. What was the viewer's name that's asked the question?
This is Marino.
Marino. Yeah, I walk and I pray to God a lot. And then walking and praying is really all I have, and the walking is rare, and being awake enough to pray is hard. But it's a good question, Marino, because I don't think I've managed to. I don't think I've. What's the word I'm looking at for, Andrew? I don't think I've managed to sort that one out yet. Just keep going.
Yeah.
But knowing that the job itself, Marino, is not that stressful, because it's a massive feel-good factor in our job. So there's not that much stress there when doing that job. That sounds crazy, I know. You become like an automaton. You become almost like a robot. The whole world detaches. Everything that you've ever known in your life detaches from you. You're there in the moment, and all you know about is that soldier and what might kill me, and everything else. And it's actually quite a peaceful environment when
it actually kind of is. It's kind of blissful in a sense, isn't it? It's like mission now, emotions later type feeling.
Amen.
Yeah.
You know what it's about, Andrew. Yeah. Stress is the stress, Marino, comes from having to turn battalions down when they asking for a new cylinder head gasket for their trucks that got blown up whilst they were withdrawing the bodies out of some hot zone, and you have to turn them down. You say, we don't have money to buy your cylinder head gasket, because a big truck has got an expensive cylinder head gasket. The stress is there. The stress is saying no to people. And that's that is stressful. It's hard. It's hard when you can't help people that ask for help. That is stressful, and I don't know yet how to deal with that. I don't know.
After the war, I wish you a rest of your life of peaceful walks, peaceful walks wherever you may go. That's what you, Karen.
Thank you, brother.
Karen Thompson, who actually significantly contributed to that ambulance that's out there in the forest. And the Texas Fairfax County that's on there. That's Karen. That's coming from this Karen here.
Karen, what a machine.
Yeah.
That is an absolute beautiful acquisition, Karen. Thank you once again. And I keep saying what a great machine, because I've never seen it anywhere other than in the forest. It's always on position, or it's always driving up and down. I haven't seen it go to the garage. And NAFO and Mercado Media have got a good reputation for buying top quality vehicles, because they do spend top dollar, thanks to generous people like you. And the boys in the forest are raging about that vehicle all the time. And once, well done. Thank you.
So Karen asks, what is your biggest need of medical supplies specifically? We talked about drones, we talked about trucks, but what about medical supplies?
Portable ultrasound scanners are something that have been increasingly asked for lately. They are expensive. Our medical needs, other than that, I mean, I remember I've been sitting here over the past 2 months. Sorry, Karen, the reason I just brought up the portable ultrasound scanner, because I've been asked by Azov and 2 other brigades very recently. I think the frequency of stabilization points being bombed has probably prompted people to start asking for these. They're small, they fit in your pocket. You can evac very quickly and take crucial equipment with you. But Karen, to answer your question about combat medicine, frontline medical equipment, good quality tourniquets is always the top of everybody's wish list.
Would you mind expanding upon that really quick? What are the good quality tourniquets? Because there's been last year there was a debate and all types of stuff. So could you clear the record on the tourniquet thing?
Yes, sir. We have tourniquets that come here that they're imitating the good names out there, but you've got the binder, you've got the stick, if you want to call it in layman's terms, that you twist. So a lot of them snap. You put them into position into the holder, and there's a lot of tension on it, and either the holder snaps off, or the binder snaps, or the tourniquet itself snaps. So you've applied the tourniquet to somebody, and you think that their bleeding has stopped, or the bleeding has stopped. You're attending to another wound, and without your eyes being on the previous wound, this tourniquet just snaps, or one of the fastenings snap. And I'm sorry, I'm not up to speed with all the lingo on what tourniquets parts are called, the official terms.
Yeah.
But they are inferior quality. There's another good brand recently that caught on this. Dnipro have recently started making some good tourniquets, and they've got an aluminium bar. What's it called? The stick. Winder. The winder.
The winder.
The winder.
The twisty stick.
The twisty stick. Yeah, the little twistle stick. Yeah. Somebody please tell me what that stick is called. Yeah. So it's usually the winder, or the windlass, or the clasp that it gets held into, or just the entire construction of the thing. Again, I'm probably not the best person to ask, because I haven't had time to research this. I just know of the good brands out there, and we urge people to spend the extra money, because it can be the difference between life and death. You think you've saved somebody, and you turn your back, and pop, the thing pops open, and they bleed to death in 45 seconds. There's a new thing out here, Karen, that people are trying to work hard on, which is tourniquet recovery systems, and I do not know much about them. When somebody's arm or leg has been tourniqueted for extended period of time, like over sometimes 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, there's a new system that people are working on, and I do not know the name of it offhand, but where they can actually recycle the blood. They can clean the blood in that section of arm that's been dead for several hours.
Yeah.
But that's not a big one.
Some innovations are coming out, dude.
And it's encouraging to see.
Yeah.
It's encouraging to see them. And these are tricks learned from our NATO friends and US friends. Harry, can making noise. Sorry, Harry's cleaning some equipment here behind us.
No, it's okay.
It's not interfering, is it?
No, not at all. Not at all. We understand the environment you're in right now. What's going on around you is part of it. Heinrich he's actually one of your countrymen. He says, "Hey, Merc, late to the stream. Yes, Pete is South African. Would you mind saying what part of South Africa?"
Goeienaand, my broer. Ek is van Port Elizabeth. I just greeted him in Afrikaans. I said, "Good evening, my brother. I'm from Port Elizabeth." Yeah. As it, Heinrich, hoe gaan dit, my broer?
Heinrich Barty.
Sorry?
Heinrich Barty is the name here in the chat.
Yeah, my name's Peter Fouché, and in South Africa they will say, "Why is he changing it? Why is he calling it Fouché? It's supposed to be Fouché," because in Afrikaans they pronounce it differently.
He says "lekker
nice
man."
to meet you.
All right. Oh, all right. Let me see. What did you say, Pete?
No, I wanted to say, where is Heinrich from?
Oh, Heinrich, say where you're from in the chat if you could. Well, I'll read it out to Pete here. All right, let me get to Chris. Since you're serving in the AFU, does this mean you can't leave Ukraine to come back home for R&R, or what does that look like for you?
That is exactly right. Although there is special dispensation, I think once a year, any serving member of the Ukraine can get special permission to leave, and I think they are. I stand corrected. I've only just recently joined, so I'm not au fait with all the rules, but I think you can leave for up to about 2 weeks, but I'm not entirely sure of that. We do get 1 month leave a year. There is 1 month leave.
But that's the same for the US.
Yeah, same. Only a month, yeah.
Yeah, only 30 days. You generate 30 days of a whole year. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you have to take it all in one go? Or
no, you can actually. I don't think some units won't let that happen. It depends on what we're doing with the mission, right? With the U.S. military, it's like you can only have a certain amount of your percentage of your unit gone at a certain amount of time for whatever to keep your readiness level at a certain rate for the command. It's all bureaucracy and numbers and whatever. So if it's at the right time, they'll let you do all 30 at one go. But oftentimes people will do like 2 weeks maybe, and then 6 months later they'll do another 2 weeks or so. Different rules. Oh, and also from Heinrich says Cape Town.
Cape Town, that's it, the Windy City. And everybody in Cape Town will tell you that Port Elizabeth is the Windy City. In Port Elizabeth, we say the wind starts in Cape Town, blows all the way to Port Elizabeth, and blows all the way back to Cape Town again.
If you guys are watching, you can ask Pete a question in the Q&A section in the chat, and I'm just reading them off right now, asking Pete any question. If you just can't access the Q&A, I'll go through the chat in general as well. I take my hat, I give my hat to Pete from Design Club. Design Club
Thank you.
tips their hat to
I'll
you.
take it. keep me from bumping my head off of the bunker ceiling. Thank you, Design Club. It's very sweet.
The Carpathian also has some words of encouragement. Pete, I don't have a question, but I want you to know thank you. What you do is invaluable. You help families stay together. From the Carpathian.
Carpathian, thank you very much, friends. That's very sweet, and that's something we love doing. Bless you for saying that.
Absolutely. Any questions, you guys? We're probably gonna let Pete get some sleep here. It's like 11:30 p.m. your time. It's getting late.
I'm loving this.
I am too. It is great.
I am too. More exciting than I thought. I was so nervous the first time you wanted to meet me.
I told you it would go by. It's already been an hour now. It goes like that. It's amazing.
We've been on for an hour?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. Yeah, wow. It's the power of conversation.
Andrew, can I take a second to thank you for what you're doing?
Oh, sure, of course.
You know, I never go on social media. We've got a beautiful team. Jana, she's on there all the time. Jana and Galina, I call them our online angels. They field absolutely everything. There's just no time, and I hate the fact that I don't have time to go online to speak to anybody or to chat to anybody. But I just keep hearing this name, Andrew Mercado Media, and they for 69 Surfing Brigade, and eventually I met you guys, and it's the amount of aid that you're bringing to Ukraine. It's staggering, and I'm exceptionally proud to know you. And what you guys are doing is miraculous. It is staggering the amount of vehicles you've brought through. And brother, there are a friend of mine interviewed me, Jordan Campbell, recently. He's from Ramrug. Sorry, I don't know if I should be name dropping. Yeah, I didn't do that intentionally.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
From Ramrug.
Drop him.
Yeah, Jordan Campbell from Ramrug Global. He's creating a documentary on Ukraine. He's done war-torn documentaries in the war-torn area documentaries in the past. His next movie is going to be called Ukraine Under Fire, and it's a documentary. And in his documentary, when he filmed me, I said, the world will be remembered. The people of this world will be remembered. You will be remembered for what you have done and for what you have not done for Ukraine. And Andrew and your colleagues, you will be remembered for what you have done for Ukraine.
And I thank you so much, Pete. And you will forever be remembered as well. I mean, I think it's all of us. Thank you. I struggle with getting compliments, so I'm trying to thank you for that so much. But it's also credit to all of us. You know,
we love you. We love you.
Yeah, I significantly appreciate that. But I wouldn't be able to do it without the supportive community I have. See, we're force multipliers. You're out there on the front lines, putting in the blood, sweat, and tears that I can't do. I have a platform in which I could try to find people like you to share the experience, and then we have the community in the chat that donates and tunes in and shares the word, and my mod team that helps me organize everything. And like basically you have a moderator team, it seems, too, like helping you in the background that gets you to interviews, and it's a whole force multiplication of so many people that help Ukraine. And thank you so much for those compliments, but I have to give it back to everyone as well. It's like it's all of us. It is truly all of us. It's not just one person.
Amen to that. And let me double up on that. Thank you to all your wonderful viewers, and feeling this energy. I was so tired when I came into this room a couple of hours ago. I sat down on Harrison's bed, and I was trying to have a quick power nap. And coming into this chat group with you, I can feel the energy of all the love and all the support out there. As you just said, the force multipliers, all these people coming together. It's absolutely staggeringly wonderful. Viewers, thank you. Good people come together. Good people coming together to do beautiful things. It's such a cool thing to be part of.
Do you have any final thoughts, Pete? Like anything you want to say, or you think you didn't get out in the interview, or you would like to say to the people?
Andrew, if I had a picture of it now, I would show it to you. Yeah, there is one thing I want to ask the world, please, for, Andrew, and I've been putting this. It's one sentence, and I've been working on it for months and months and months, and I've been trying to find the courage on how to say it, on how not to piss anybody off, or how not to get people to run away, the wrong people to run away, and the sentence is this. I've actually, myself and Galina and our team, we've created a beautiful image of a soldier, Ukrainian soldier, with a logo underneath it. And it's an image which I'll share with you directly after this. Ukraine needs two things: soldiers and a miracle. We've already got the soldiers. Now let's unite in prayer for a miracle. So my last word to you and the world is, please pray for Ukraine.
Thank you so much, Pete. Pete from Project Konstantin. It was a pleasure. I do hope we get to talk again, and I hope to see you on other platforms. I'll try to, if you have time, and I'll link you to the other creators that I know in the Ukraine space, and you can share your word with their communities as well. But I really do hope we get to talk again and have more of these conversations.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you very much, viewers, and thank you for Andrew's followers, and thank you all for your donations. Thank you for loving this country. Thank you for giving your time to Ukraine. We would be in shit street. Sorry, we would be in a bad place if it wasn't for you guys. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, from the bottom of my heart, and from all of my Ukrainian brothers and sisters out there. Thank you.
Pete from Project Konstantin, everyone. Have a wonderful day, or have a wonderful night, Pete. Try to get some sleep and be safe.
God bless you, brother. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, everybody. Good night. God
Good night.
bless you.
What a wonderful conversation, you guys, with Pete from Project Konstantin.